Greetings and welcome to my week's end ramblings. This is a little bit challenging because this is me on a Saturday actually doing the week's end ramblings. After last weekend, we had a great celebration last Sunday. Obviously, we had our masses at Snug and then at Christ the Priest. Our mass at Christ the Priest was First Communion, and we celebrated with the young people of our parish who were making their First Communion last Sunday. Following the Mass and a short reception afterwards, I headed off with two of the families to have lunch at the Salty Dog, a nearby hotel, and that was a great afternoon. Following that, I headed off with my friend Terry to have a meal at D'Angelo's as one of our regular Sunday haunts. Monday morning, I started off with a meeting, an online meeting with my friends from the Church of the Nativity in Timonium, and we had a fairly long chat until I had to head off to celebrate Mass at midday at St. Al's. And that was followed by a communion round. During the communion round, I found out that one of the men involved with the RSL had deteriorated fairly rapidly. And so I said that I would go to see him in the next day or so. And when I got to the final person on my communion round, I found that she had in fact been taken to hospital on the Sunday afternoon with bowel obstruction and had been operated on Sunday night, but was in reasonably good form last night and on the Sunday night. And so I had said that I would catch up with her in the next couple of days. Then it was back home to work on the homily because I knew that I was going to be a little bit pressed as this was a new theme and I really hadn't formed a message series yet. So I needed to work on that. Tuesday started off with my fortnightly meeting with the college principal, and we chatted about a few things. At this stage, there was very little conversation about the AFL because both his team, Collingwood, and my team, obviously Geelong, as you can see from the background, we're both in the preliminary finals. So more about that shortly. Then it was back to homily, and I spent most of the rest of Tuesday working on the homily, trying to put it together and get some real sense of what the theme might be. And I worked out that the theme might be, how do I look at the world, or how do I see the world? On Wednesday morning, we had our normal Wednesday morning mass, followed by the pastoral team meeting. And then I headed off to the hospital to see the two patients two parishioners who were in hospital. The fellow who's a little bit younger than I am, but who was in fairly serious health condition. So I anointed him, and then I anointed the elderly lady who had been in hospital since Sunday. Then I had a meeting with a financial advisor from Catholic Superannuation Fund who helped me make a few decisions about how the beneficiaries of my super might be organised. And then we had a meeting of the awards committee for the Guildford Young Medal that will be announced in November. And then I was back home, and I had just a very short time before we had a prayer and praise gathering here in the meeting room, and then followed by a shared meal. Thursday morning was a mass at the senior campus, at the middle campus, and then it was back here. I did a few little jobs on the way back, and then it was into my homily, and I had an early night. I just needed to slow down a little bit. Friday, a school mass to start the morning, then the nativity meeting, and then I started to work on the daily devotions emails for the next week. And I hadn't started them up until yesterday morning, so it took a fair bit of work during the day. Eventually, I managed to get them done, and then I headed off and did a house blessing for a family who've just moved into a new dwelling for them, and blessed the house, and then came back in short time before I headed off again to celebrate a home mass last night, the third Friday of the month home mass that I celebrate regularly. Saturday morning, I woke up early, middle of the night, because Geelong were playing Hawthorn on Friday night. And when I went to bed, Geelong weren't doing that well. However, I was able to see that they went quite ballistic after that and did incredible and cleaned up the Hawks quite nicely. And so we're into the grand final next weekend. Brisbane and Collingwood play tonight, and they will determine the other grand finalists. So we're in the box seat. We've got that extra day, but unfortunately, one of our key backmen, Tom Stewart, suffered a concussion early in the first quarter, and so will be unable to play next week. This morning, after watching the replay, or at least the highlights of the replay, I settled in for a baptism, which I've just completed. Now I'm doing my ramblings recording, and then I'll head off and collect Archbishop Adrian and take him to lunch at Sandy Bay, and then back here to do a little bit more work on my homily for next week, because I'll be away for a few days early in the week. So that's my week. I didn't mention, sadly, not long on Wednesday, after I'd been to see the gentleman in hospital, he passed away. And I had a phone call yesterday morning to say that the lady had passed away. So their funerals will be sometime towards the end of next week. Not sure about Maureen Brennan, but we will see what happens when I see her husband tomorrow. Take care, stay safe, and continue to smile when you talk about your faith. It really confuses people if you're really smiling. Have a great day and stay safe.